So in the previous session, we had discussed this program to print first five natural numbers where we had created an increment loop with the initialization part written before the loop where I is initialized to 1. Here I is called as a loop control variable since it controls the number of iterations. So whatever the value I takes, depending on that, whether the loop is to be repeated or not, that is decided. That's why it is called as a loop control variable. And you can see it is the increment loop we have created where I is initialized to 1, I less than equal to 5, and it repeats the loop. In each iteration I value is updated so that at some point the test condition is going to be a failure which terminates the loop. So this is how we had written an while loop. So now what I want to do is I want to read the value. So that is how many natural numbers you want to print. So that we shall read during execution time. So here we have restricted to 5. So here we have given the constant in the test condition. But if I want to give it as a variable, how actually we can give? So for which I need to declare one more variable n. Then I can just go for prompting the user to enter the value of n, the limit, how many natural numbers you want to print, that we can read as an input. Okay, so we need to first prompt the user. This is again to improve the readability of the program. We can just write enter the value of n. This can be the message we can print onto the screen. Enter the value of n. We shall go for reading the value of n through scanf. Okay, scanf will write percentage %d, since n is an integer variable, comma address of n. So this is how we can use. So once the input is read, now I need to initialize the loop control variable I equals 1. Then in the test condition part, I need to replace 5 with n. Just see, while I less than or equal to n, we are printing the I value within the loop, I plus plus we have given, and just observe what statements are repeated n times. It is printf statement and updation part, I plus plus. These two statements are repeated n times, correct? This is the change you have to make to the program for reading the input during execution time. See, we have read the n value, and until I value is less than or equal to n, the loop will be repeated. Once I value becomes greater than n, then the while loop will be terminated. So let us just try to execute this program. Okay. See, if I give the I value as say 10, how many natural numbers will be printed? Just know you can analyze. 10 times the loop will be executed. So it prints the values from 1 to 10. Correct? In the previous case, any number of time you execute the program, it was printing only first 5 natural numbers. Since we had given constant 5, we wanted to print only first 5 natural numbers. That's why we have given it as a constant without reading any input during execution time. But here what we are doing is we are trying to read the input during execution time. For that we have taken an additional variable en. We have read its value during execution time through scanf statement. And in the test condition part, we have replaced 5 by n. And if you execute this program, what you'll get is, as soon as you execute, you'll first get this message, enter the value of n. Any value you want to enter, you can give that as input. So those many natural numbers will be printed, starting from 1. See, this is how you can modify the program. Clear? So if I give, in the next run, if I give the input as, say, 2, only first 2 natural numbers will be printed. So depending on what value you are reading for n, those integers, those natural numbers will be printed. Okay, so this is how we can make it. We can make the modification to read the input. Here, so if you want to create a decrement loop, as I told, initialize I to n here. Okay, I must be initialized to n. Then here less than must be replaced with greater than. So test it for minimum value 1. So within the body of the loop, these are the two statements: printf percentage %d slash n comma I. Here I plus plus. So these two statements will be repeated n times. Okay, remember I equals n. This is the initialization part. This is the initialization statement we have written. While I greater than equal to 1, it is the while loop header we have written. This is the test condition we have written. I greater than or equal to 1. within whatever you are writing within this pair of flower base, that is called as body of the loop. We are finding two statements within the body of the loop. That's why we have given opening and closing flower base to indicate the block. Okay. So after that, we have given return 0 and we have closed the program. So just say if I execute this program, what will be, one more thing, one more modification I have to make. I should not increment, since it is a decrement loop I am trying to construct. I have to decrease the value of I in each iteration. Right? If you increase, what happens? I will never be equal to 1. Each time if you are increasing the value, it never reaches this value 1 and the test condition will never fail. It becomes infinite loop. So just see what type of loop we are creating, whether it is increment or decrement loop. Accordingly, you update the loop control variable. Okay. So for this, I need to use decrement operator. So just we shall try to run it. Observe what value you are getting at. You are trying will be getting. If I give n is equal to 8, see, it prints the value starting from 8 in reverse order. I is initialized with n value. I have taken the n value as 8. 8 gets stored in the variable I. 8 is greater than or equal to 1 is tested. Since it is true, it enters, it prints 8 in the first line. Then slash n is given, cursor is brought to the new line, I is decremented to 7, control comes the beginning of the while loop, where 7 is tested with 1. Again 7 is greater than or equal to 1, control enters, 7 gets printed, and so on. The process is repeated. So this is how we can construct decrement loop. So just observe in which places you have to make the changes. Okay, if you want to create a decrement loop, see the initialization part, how we have given, test condition part, what operator we have used, and then the updation part, which operator we are going to use. In these three places, you have to make changes. Okay, initialization part, test condition part, and updation part. Okay, so now if I want to print the message, say CPPS, some n times, then what changes I have to make in this program? Is it compulsory to construct an increment loop, or I can go with decrement loop also? Problem is I need to print CPPS. So this word n times I want to print onto the screen. So can anyone tell, should I use decrement loop only, yeah, increment loop only, or I can implement this problem using both the types of loops?
Both.
Both are fine, right? That means I'm trying to construct the loop for deciding the number of iterations. What I need to print? The message CPPS. This I have to print how many number of times. So to decide the number of times the loop has to be repeated, we are trying to construct a loop. So for which it is no compulsion that you need to go for increment loop only. You can implement this problem using increment loop or decrement loop. Just check here. So we have read the value of n, since it is given how many times we need to print the message. That is decided based on the n value. I is initialized with n, I greater than or equal to 1. So here what we are going to do is printf. What is the message I want to print? It is CPPS.
CPPS.
Right? This is the message I want to repeat. Let me just bring the cursor to the new line. So that's the only message I want to print. Then after that, I is to be decremented, so that at some point the test condition must fail. So this is the change we have made. We're not printing the I value here, just the message is repeated. That is the print operation of this message is repeated n times. And so execute this program to see what happens. I'll give n is equal to 4. You can observe the message CPPS. So whatever you have given within double quote, that gets printed. And since the loop is repeated 4 times, n value I have given it as 4, 4 times the CPPS word is printed. So this is the decrement loop I have constructed. I can also construct an increment loop. I equals 1 I can give, I less than or equal to n I can specify. Okay, and C is case sensitive. See that whatever the case you have used for the variable, same case throughout the program you have to use. The message CPPS I have given. Then I'm going to make changes in the updation part. In these three places I have to make changes. The initialization part, test condition part, and updation part. Now let me execute this and see what output you are getting. If I give n is equal to 5, 5 times the loop is repeated. It prints CPPS 5 times. For this program, if the question is to print a particular information n times, if you want to create an increment loop or a decrement loop, it is left to you. However you want, you can create so that it repeats the loop for that is n times. Okay, this is how you can perform. Hope you have understood this. Okay, if I want to print star n times, I can just leave the star here. I can run it. Okay. If I give n is equal to 10, 10 stars will be printed. If I want to print 10 stars in same line, I shall remove backslash n and I can run it. If I give 10, 10 stars will be printed in the same line. So it is without using loop also, you can just directly print 10 stars. Okay. But if you are using looping construct, 1 star in each iteration, only 1 star is printed. After all the n iterations, you'll see totally 10 stars printed. Okay. That's how you can make use of loop. To repeat some set of statements for fixed number of times, we'll be making use of looping construct. This is a while loop construct we have used, which is one of the looping constructs supported in C, which is an entry control loop, meaning first it tests the condition. Only if the test condition is evaluated to true, then only control will enter the body of the loop. That's why it is called as entry control or pre-test loop. Okay. The keyword we are using is while. This is the keyword. Hope you have understood this. Shall we go to the lab syllabus question? Yes. So this is the fourth A program of your lab syllabus. It is to develop a C program to find GCD and LCM of two integers using Euclid's algorithm. Okay, this is the fourth program of your lab syllabus. So what is the question? You need to compute the GCD and LCM for the two integers using which algorithm? Euclid's algorithm. The first we shall quickly go through how Euclid's algorithm works, and then we shall implement it and we shall try to trace it. So assume two numbers. Let us take two numbers as say I'll take it as just a minute. Okay. Let us take m is equal to say 35 and n is equal to 15. Let me take two integer values, say 35 and 15, held in two integer variables m and n. So how Euclid's algorithm work is, we'll perform the division operation on these two numbers. That means we'll perform m by n. So that means n is the divisor we are going to take and n is the dividend we are going to take. We'll perform the division operation. Okay. So what is the quotient and remainder you are going to get once you divide this number? Here n
2
as the
and 5.
divisor. Yeah. So 15 into 2 is 30. We'll get 2 as the quotient and 5 as the remainder. So once you perform the division, we'll check the remainder. If remainder is non-zero, then we need to perform the division operation again in the next iteration with what modification to the divisor and dividend. See, for the next iteration, the divisor what you have taken will become the dividend and the remainder will become the divisor. Okay, this is the change we are going to make to the divisor and dividend. So in the next iteration, we are taking 5 as the divisor, 15 as the dividend, and will perform the division operation. So we are going to get 5 into 3, it is 15, and you got the remainder as 0. So once you get the remainder as 0, that ends this Euclid's algorithm with whatever the divisor you have taken, that as the GCD. So for 35 and 15, what is the GCD? It is 5. How we have computed it? We'll take two input numbers, two integer numbers held in some variable, say m and n. We'll perform the division operation on them. We'll check the remainder. If remainder is not 0, we'll just store the divisor in the dividend, that is in m. Okay. For the first time division, m is the dividend and n is the divisor. So in the next iteration, what we'll do is whatever the divisor we are having, that we'll store it in m, and whatever the remainder you are having, that we are going to store it in n. Then we'll perform the division operation. So this process is repeated until you get the remainder as 0. Once you get the remainder as 0, whatever the divisor you have taken, that will be the GCD. So once you get the GCD, it is easy to compute the LCM. You need to take the original numbers. Okay, so original numbers you have to take the product of these two original numbers and divide it by GCD. You are going to get the LCM. That is 35 into 15. You are taking the product. If you divide this by the GCD, whatever you have got, you are going to get the LCM. So for this input, it is 105. The LCM you are going to get. Okay, this is how we are computing the GCD and LCM. So for computing the GCD, we are going to make use of while loop construct. So once the GCD is computed, using that value, we are trying to compute the LCM. Okay, this is what the logic we are using for our implementation. Hope this is clear. Let me go through the slide. Okay. This is the fourth A program of your lab syllabus. Develop a C program to find the GCD and LCM of two integers using Euclid's algorithm. We'll include the header file stdio.h. You know what for you need to include this header file, since you'll be making use of printf and scanf. That is any IO functions you are using in your program, built-in IO functions, then you have to include this header file stdio.h, since the declarations of those functions you find in this header file. So next, this is the main function header I have written, int main, open flower brace, and whatever the variables you require for this program implementation will declare all those in the declaration part within the main function. So these are the variables I require for this program implementation. M and N, two input variables to hold the two integer data for which we need to compute the GCD and LCM. Then, since we are performing repetitive operation, the values of your original values of m and n will be lost. So that's why what we'll do is, before applying the Euclid's algorithm, we are trying to save the values of m and n in two other temporary variables. So for that, we have declared two more variables, temp1 and temp2. Why we require temp1 and temp2 is, once we apply the Euclid's algorithm, original values of m and n will be lost. So that's why what we'll do is, before applying the logic, we'll save its current value, then we'll apply the logic, and then we'll use these original values to compute the LCM. Okay, so that is the reason we have taken temp1 and temp2. So then, as I told, we need to perform the division operation. So once the division operation is performed, I require the remainder. So since if the remainder is non-zero, I need to make the changes to dividend and divisor. So that's why, to hold the remainder, we are going to make use of one more variable, remainder. Then this is optional to have a separate variable to compute, to hold the GCD and LCM, the results. Just to improve the readability, we have taken two more variables, one variable to hold the GCD and another variable to hold the LCM. So without these two variables also, we can perform the operation GCD and LCM. Directly you can print the result. Okay. Just to improve the readability, we have taken additional variables GCD and LCM, which holds the final value computed for GCD and LCM. Now, the first statement, the executable statement we are going to write is, will prompt the user to enter two numbers. Okay. As soon as we execute the program, this is what the first message you'll see on the screen: enter two numbers. Then we are going to read the values of m and n through scanf. Since m and n are declared as integer data type, we'll use two format specifiers, %d, and in the address list, we have given address of m, address of n. So once the input is read, as I told, before applying the Euclid's algorithm, I need to save the current values of m and n in two temporary variables, temp1 and temp2. How to do it? Just write the statement temp1 equals m, which copies m value to the variable temp1. Then temp2 equals n you can give, which copies n value to temp2. Okay. So original values are stored in temp1 and temp2 variables. And now we need to apply the Euclid's algorithm. Just observe what is the terminating condition I have given. While n not equal to 0. So once we trace it, you'll understand why it is n not equal to 0. So since in each iteration, we are going to take the n value in m, and whatever the remainder we are having in the variable remainder, that we are going to store it in n variable. So what n holds in each iteration is finally, that is the remainder. So until the remainder is not equal to 0, we need to perform the division operation. So that's why in the loop control variable we have taken while n not equal to 0. And what is the first operation we are going to do within this while loop? The division operation, and we want the remainder. So we need to extract the remainder after division. So you know which operator you have to use for extracting the remainder. It is modulus operator. So the statement we are going to write is remainder equals m modulus of n. It performs the division m by n, and whatever the remainder will get, that will be stored in the variable remainder. Correct? This is the assignment operator we have used. How this works? M mod n is computed. How it is computed? It divides m by n. The remainder what you'll get will be stored in the variable remainder. After that, what is the change I need to make to m and n? So I need to store the n value. N is the divisor here. N value I have to store in m, and whatever the remainder we have got, that we have to store in n. Okay, this is what the modification to the dividend and divisor we are doing for the next iteration. M equals n equals remainder. So what is the meaning of this? Let me write the comment if you are not following. So here after division, we need to make the divisor as dividend. Just make, as I showed in that example, just make divisor as dividend. Okay, here m is the dividend and n is the divisor. Okay, dividend. After that, remainder we need to make it as divisor. So through this statement, n equals to m, remainder. This assignment statement, what is the meaning? It is we are making remainder as divisor. So for the next iteration. So this is what the meaning of these two assignment statements. We are making remainder as divisor for next iteration. Hope this is clear. Okay, these are the statements we are repeating. And finally close the while loop. So these are the only three statements we are going to repeat within the while loop. This is actually the Euclid's algorithm implementation. Once the while loop terminates, what you'll be having in m? That will be the GCD. Whatever the value m takes, once n takes the value 0, the while loop will be terminated. So anyway, the whatever the remainder you got, so that will be stored in the that is whatever the divisor you have taken, that will be stored in the variable m. So finally, the GCD will be the value held in the variable m. So you are going to assign that value to the variable GCD, and to compute the LCM, this is what the expression you are going to write. LCM equals temp1 into temp2 by GCD. Original numbers, you had saved it in the variables temp1 and temp2. You multiply those two numbers and divide it by GCD. So you need not parenthesize this multiplication, since multiplication operator, that is asterisk operator and front slash, this is the division operator, both are having same priority. So while scanning from left to right, whichever appears first, that will be evaluated first. So first it performs temp1 into temp2, and then it divides by GCD. Okay, this is what the operation performed. So the LCM is stored in the variable LCM. Last operation left out is we need to print the results onto the screen. Write a series of printf statements. So printf, the GCD of percentage %d and percentage %d is percentage %d. So this is the format in which I'm printing the output. And we have given temp1, temp2, GCD. So similarly, print the LCM of the two input numbers and just print the result which is held in the variable LCM. Finally, give return 0 and close the program. Okay, so this is the program which is the 4th A of your lab syllabus to compute GCD and LCM. So if you have understood the logic to compute Euclid's algorithm, to compute GCD using Euclid's algorithm, you can easily implement it using while loop. So it is no compulsion that you have to use while loop. You can implement this using other looping constructs also, but this is best appropriate for implementing this problem. Okay. So we shall try to trace this, how actually this while loop works. We'll see in the next slide the tracing. Okay. So this is the tracing for m value with 35 and n with 15. And these are the values I need to verify in each iteration. I need to first, since it is an entry control loop, this is the test condition we need to have, n not equal to 0. This is what we have written in our implementation. And we shall see what value is held in m and n before the Euclid's algorithm is applied. And in each iteration, what is the operation we are performing? Remainder equals m modulus of n, m equals n, and n equals remainder. These are the three statements we have written within the loop. So initially, this is what the m value loaded, 35, and n value is 15. So now we are testing the condition. What is the condition we are testing? Is n not equal to 0? What is n value currently? It is 15. We are checking is 15 not equal to 0. Is it true? Yes, it is true. 15 is not 0. The control enters the while loop for the first time. So what is the first statement that gets executed within the while loop? Remainder equals m modulus of n. So what is 35 modulus of 15? What is the remainder you are going to get? 35 mod 15. Remainder is 5. Correct? And then for the next iteration, what are the changes we are going to make to m and n? Whatever n you are having, n value, that is assigned to the variable m, and whatever the remainder you are having, that is assigned to the variable n. See, n value is 15, it is stored in the variable m. What is the remainder 5 is stored in the variable n. This is the updation you are going to do to m and n variables. So then control will go to the beginning of the while loop to test the condition is 5 not equal to 0. What is the value of n? It is 5. We are checking whether 5 is not equal to 0. Is it true? Yes, 5 not equal to 0. Condition is satisfied. So control enters the loop and it computes the remainder. What is the remainder computed? Remainder equals m modulus of n. What is m value? 15. 15 mod 5. What you will get is 0. Okay. After that, what are the updations we are doing to m and n? N value is assigned to m. So m takes the value 5 and remainder what you have computed, that is assigned to the variable n. Okay. So now after these updations, control will go to the beginning of the while loop to test the condition is 0 not equal to 0. So what is n value? It is 0. We are testing it with 0. At this point, the condition fails. 0 is equal to 0. Since the test condition fails, control comes outside the loop. With what value in m? It is 5, which is the GCD. Okay. So this itself is the GCD. The final result for these two inputs will get us 5. So once you get the GCD, you can easily compute the LCM. It is 35 into 15, original numbers. You should not take the values what you get after the loop is that is terminated. See, once the loop gets terminated, m will be having the value 5 and n will be having the value 0. You will get the result for LCM as 0. Anything multiplied by 0 will result in 0. 0 by 5 means it will be 0. So that means for any input you take, you will get the result as 0 for LCM. That should not happen. So what we'll do is, before applying this Euclid's algorithm, we are saving the original numbers in two temporary variables and we are making use of those values to compute the LCM. Say 35 into 50 divided by the GCD whatever we got once the loop terminates, which is held in the variable m, and with this we are going to get the LCM. Okay. This is how we are going to compute the LCM. Okay. Have you all followed how GCD and LCM are computed? Are able to trace it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So this is a simple program, which is 4th program of your lab syllabus to compute GCD and LCM. So this is the while loop we need to write. It is very simple. Test condition while n not equal to 0. Three statements. Remainder equals m mod m equals to n equals to remainder. If you are knowing the comment, m is the dividend we are taking, n is the divisor to perform the division operation. How to remember these two assignment statements? Just make divisor as dividend, remainder as divisor. So these are the two assignment statements you have to write. Once the loop terminates, n will become 0. Okay. So m will be having the GCD. Assign it to this variable. If you don't want to take additional variables GCD and LCM, here only I can just write in the variable list in the printf, I can write m. temp1, temp2, m I can write to print the GCD. To compute LCM, I can write the expression. computation part you can write in printf also. Replace LCM, this variable, with temp1 into temp2 by GCD. Sorry, that is m. So this complete expression you can write it here. Before semicolon, before parenthesis, you can write temp1 star temp2 divided by m. This is what you can write. Temp2 by m. If you are not taking GCD and LCM additional variables, you can write this computation part in this variable list. So it prints the GCD as well as the LCM. Okay. So in the coming week, since you have not executed switch program, you complete that switch program and this fourth A program of your lab syllabus, that is to compute GCD and LCM. Okay. So rest other concepts on looping we'll discuss in later classes. Hope you have followed today's session. Any problem in understanding this code to compute
No, ma'am.
GCD and LCM? Okay. What about others? Have you all followed? Okay. Okay.
Ma'am.
Okay.